Hi, I'm Nathan McGee. I'm a photographer from Brisbane. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. It's not going to be an amazing one because I'm just going for a short drive into the bush nearby. Generally I like to go hiking and do a lot of landscape photography, but I just don't have time today for a big hike, but let's see what we can find. I'm about to jump in the car and go now. So I'm planning to head to Mt Nebo in the Eucalyptus National Park here in Queensland. Should only be about half hour, 40-minute drive, and then I'll figure out where to go from there. See you soon. Okay, so we've made it to Mt Nebo. We're about to start on the hike. We're going to do the Eucalyptus track today, which should only be 4 kilometers each way, I believe. So 8 k's in total, perhaps. It should be a nice easy hike just through mostly eucalyptus and rainforest. So here we go. While we're walking, I guess I could tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Nathan McGee, as I mentioned before. I'm a photographer from Brisbane in Australia, which is in the southeast of the state of Queensland. What I typically like to shoot is landscape photography, which is what the majority of my channel is probably going to be about. But I also shoot events, family stuff, and things like that as well to fund my landscape photography. Okay, so I've been walking for a little while, not long, maybe 20 minutes or so. And I've come across something that is probably not what I'd normally shoot, but since I'm not expecting a lot of big vistas or anything on this hike, it might be interesting to take a photo of. We've got this ancient fig tree here, which has probably been here hundreds and hundreds of years. Now, it's very close to the track, which means it might be a bit tricky for me to get a good shot of it, but we might just go off track a little bit, just down this hill, see if I can set up the tripod. It's a bit steep and slippery with leaf debris, but nothing I'd consider to be too dangerous. There might be something there. Again, not something unreal, but let's set up the tripod and see. Okay, so we've got the shot set up, ready to go. I'm shooting at ISO 64 at f4 with 1/8 of a second. Got the 2-second timer on. Let's go. Excellent. Okay, so I'm still at the same tree, believe it or not. However, I brought 2 cameras with me today. So I brought my digital camera, but I also brought my Mamiya 645 medium format film camera. So this is a camera I've had for a few years, and I really love it. I've only just started using it again after not for a while because I had some dramas with light leaks, but now I'm really enjoying the larger negatives. So I've loaded up a roll of Kodak Ektar 100, which is known for fairly bright colours and a lot of contrast, so hopefully it can bring out some of the lichen on the tree and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to shoot this one at f16 and at 2 seconds, as that's what the meter in the camera, which I find to be fairly good as long as you set it properly, is giving me as correct exposure. And then after that I'm going to do another one at 4 seconds for 2 reasons. One, negative film loves light, so overexposing is fine, and also because often 2 seconds is probably not too big of a deal, but when you're doing longer exposures with film you get what's called reciprocity failure and you actually need to give it more exposure anyway. So I've got focus set. I'm just going to lock up the mirror because it's got quite a large mirror. I've got my cable release here, and alright, let's take this shot. There we go, 2 seconds. Now I'm going to wind it on for the next one. Winding this camera is a bit awkward at the moment because the film advance lever fell off, as you can see here. So it makes it really awkward when I've got the L bracket on to wind on. There we go. Change shutter time to 4 seconds. Mirror still locked up. And let's go. And 4 seconds done. Hopefully this is a fairly nice photograph. I might try and find out tomorrow. Alright, time to carry on. We've got plenty of hiking left to do. So I found something else that might be a little bit interesting. It's a very large tree base of what appears to be a dead eucalyptus tree, perhaps. It's covered, as you can see, it's covered in moss. Now the moss is a little bit lackluster at the moment because it's a bit dry, but let's take a shot using the Kodak Ektar and see what we get. So initially with the first tree I was using the wide angle lens on my Mamiya, which is a 45mm f2.8, which gives roughly the same field of view as somewhere around 30 odd mil on a 35mm camera, so fairly wide angle. I don't typically shoot a lot of wide angle, but when you're that close to your subject, you sort of have to. For this one, although I'm still close, I've opted to put the standard 80mm lens, which is fairly similar to what you get with a 50mm view on a 35mm camera. I wanted to get some fairly up close detail and not have too much bushland. I'm going to shoot it at f5.6 because I feel that I don't want it to be, the depth of field to be so shallow that you can't get much of the moss in, but I feel that given we're fairly close focus, I mean less than 3 meters away, 5.6 with the larger format will still isolate the tree enough from any background. So now I'm just waiting for some light, which it looks like I might have now. Just going to double check my exposure. So I'm at f5.6. I'm at 1/30th of a second right now. I'm going to go to 1/60th because that light will come back and it'll be nice and bright. And once the bright light comes back on, I think that'll really help bring out the colours. Well, I did grab that shot with the Mamiya. The light did come back. I'm sorry I didn't film it, but I sort of had to rush a little bit because there's a lot of clouds coming and going, so the light wasn't hanging around long. But I'm really keen to see how the high saturation Kodak Ektar brings out the colours of that moss. Looks like we have reached our destination. This is the Boombana picnic area. So we just did that 4 kilometers on the Thylagau track. It took just over an hour and a half, which isn't too bad given I stopped a number of times, well, a couple of times for some photographs. And it looks like we've now got some shade to stop and have some lunch. And then we might do this, quickly do this 1 kilometer circuit. See how we go. Time for lunch. So I'm doing that little short 1 kilometer pitta walking track circuit that was there at the picnic spot. And I think I'm a bit more than halfway through. And I wasn't expecting to see anything worth shooting. However, I've come across this magnificent fig tree here with a great root system. So what I might try and do is set up the tripod, grab the Mamiya out again. I know I'm not using my digital camera a lot. Maybe try and go for a portrait orientation shot. So I've just had a problem. I've just gone to get my Mamiya out of the bag and found the film door had popped open. I'm going to have to keep shooting, and I'm just not sure exactly how much film is going to have been exposed to light and wasted, but let's just see. I might just fire off a blank shot now, cover the lens, and just carry on, hope for the best, I guess. It's really inconvenient, not sure why that happened, but hey. One blank, might even do two, just for good measure. Hopefully haven't lost anything we've already shot, and hopefully the rest of the roll is still salvageable. Two blanks. Alright, ready to go. 4 seconds with my shutter release cable. Here we go. There we go. Hopefully this exposure works out really well. I think it's a really interesting tree. Time to pack up and carry on. So I did stop just before to grab a quick photo. It was one I sort of spotted on the way in but didn't really stop for. It's just another log covered in moss. I thought it'd be a quick handheld, bang out the Mamiya, but the light changed a bit. I lost my direct sun, set up the tripod, so it took a few minutes, but hopefully it should be pretty nice. Now, since we've passed the road, it means we're not too far from that other bulbous bottomed tree that I shot earlier. Now, I think I'm going to stop and do it again, largely because I'm a bit scared about having lost it when the film door popped open earlier. I don't think I would have, because it would have been the previous exposed frame, which meant it was on the other side of the film holder. But you never know. Light coming in can cause all kinds of havoc. So I think I will stop just to reshoot it, because I did quite like it. So I'll shoot it with the normal lens. If I'm feeling like wasting a few minutes, maybe to catch my breath, I might even throw on the longer short telephoto, the 150mm, because I really do like using that lens, because I've used more wide angle than I expected today. So I might throw that on and see how we go. So we're back at that big bulbous tree. Here it is. I've got the Mamiya set up again, but the direction of the light has changed a bit, as you would expect. So I've had to shoot with a different composition, which is okay. I've got the longer lens on now, the 150mm, which gives roughly the same field of view as 100mm on 35mm. So I'm shooting it at f11. I do have a much longer lens anyway, so I don't have to worry too much about depth of field being too deep. There's not a lot in it. There's this little tree just here is going to slightly be in the composition on the left hand side, with mostly just the moss and the light and the tree trunk. So I'm ready to go. 1/4 of a second, f11. Just going to double check that exposure again. Yep, the meter's saying it is somewhere between half to 1 stop overexposed, not quite 1 stop, but that's fine with this color negative film. I've locked the mirror up to avoid any mirror shake at all. Here we go. 1/4 of a second, done. It is quite possible that this may be the last composition before we get back to the car. I'm going to pack up and hightail it a little bit, but we'll see what happens. I'm not against stopping again. I'm not in a huge hurry. And here we are, reaching the end of the track. Almost back to the car. Hiked over 9k's today. Not a huge day. Not a bad day for a sneaky little Thursday hike. Here we go, back up to the main road. And here is my car, my little adventure rig. Time to sign off for now. So one final little snippet before I sign off. I know I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing. This is my first ever video. So please let me know in the comments. Don't be too mean, but please let me know what you think. I will obviously improve as I go. I'm going to work on getting better sound already. I haven't even listened to this and I know it's not going to be great. But yeah, let me know some feedback. This isn't what I typically do, but we'll get to that sooner or later as well. So yeah, just want to say before I head back down the mountain, thanks for watching and hopefully we'll see you again soon.